Hello, my name is Emma, and today I want to talk about why I prefer to read young adult novels. Every couple months, some Twitter discourse will happen where someone, regardless of where it is insulting adults who read young adult literature, and then everyone's talking about how it's okay to read young adult at any age, which it totally is. It's no secret that young adult books are mostly intended for teens. They follow teens, they tell the stories of teens, and they're widely read by teens, but it doesn't matter if you are 6, 16, 26, or 60 years old, you can still enjoy YA. Here on BookTube, I have been a YA reader as a teen and I have been a YA reader as an adult, but increasingly over the years, I have gotten more and more comments from people saying things like I need to read my age, or my reading style is immature, or I'm not a real reader because YA doesn't count. And it's frankly really annoying to get comments like that because it's just what I personally enjoy. So while I am 100% late to the discussion that sparked my interest in making this video, and I'm probably early for the one that will surely happen in a couple of months, I wanted to take some time today to talk about why I, as a 21-year-old, almost 22-year-old woman, prefer to read young adult books as compared to adult, nonfiction, etc. I do want to clarify, I have read books that aren't YA before, and I will pick up one every once in a while. I particularly love adult mystery thrillers. I have an entire shelf dedicated to those books. I frequently enjoy picking up a memoir from a person that I admire. I am into reading nonfiction books about psychology topics, and I would like to read more true crime in the future. So it's not as if I'm completely abhorrent to other kind of books, it's just that 98% of the time I prefer to read YA. And why is it that I prefer to read YA? I mean, I'm an adult, I have a job, I have a college degree, I pay bills, so why do I prefer to read about teens in high school? A significant part of that is that I rediscovered my love of reading with young adult books when I was a teen in high school just 4 years ago. I was in a very dark place when I first discovered the world of young adult literature, and YA books gave me a reason to get up in the morning. My days were filled with so much depression and anxiety and loneliness, but I had endless worlds to escape to with main characters who were just like me, saving the world or just saving themselves. So much of the self-confidence and life experience that I've gained in the last 4 years are directly attributed to what I have learned and what I've encountered through young adult literature, and I'm forever grateful that I discovered it when I did. For that reason, YA books will always have a really special place in my heart. Currently, YA books are integral to my being and are the person I am today, and I can't really separate myself from that right now. On a less heavy note, YA books are just more interesting to me personally. Personally, I've noticed that when I read a synopsis for an adult book that I'm really interested in reading, my reaction is usually, wow, this sounds really cool, I should definitely add it to my TBR. On the other hand, when I read a synopsis for a young adult book that I'm genuinely interested in reading, my response is usually, holy shit, that sounds fucking amazing, I can't wait to read this book, I know I am going to love it, I feel like this book was made for me. I am just generally more excited about young adult books. Although I can name a ton of non-YA books that I love, I have more fun reading YA, and there's nothing wrong with that. I am not immature for that reason. I am not less of a reader. The same way people prefer a certain type of clothing or a certain genre of music, I prefer YA, and that's fine. But why is it that YA tends to excite me more? I think a large part of that is that I love to relate to characters that I am reading about, and I can relate so much more to a young adult main character than I can to an adult main character. Like I said, when it comes to non-YA books, the greatest category of fiction that I read is adult mystery thrillers, so my interpretation of what adult novels are like is pretty limited to that genre, even though it's what I prefer to read. Most of the adult main characters I follow are in their late 20s, early 30s, they have an established career, they're living on their own or they're living with a partner, they might be married or divorced, and a lot of their problems are specifically adult problems, obviously. But I'm 21. I've been a student for as long as I can remember, and I'll go back to being a student in September. I have only a part-time job, I live at home with my mother, and I definitely do have some adult problems, but I also have way less responsibilities than a lot of the characters in adult books. When considering all of those things, if you take away my age, does my life sound more like that of a teen or an adult? Because I personally say a teen. Obviously here on the internet, I'm the only person that really knows what my life is like, and I would honestly consider it closer to that of a 16-year-old than someone like my 26-year-old sister, even though I am the same distance away from both of those ages. So naturally, it's much easier for me to connect with a character whose struggles I have already been through or might even still be going through than a character whose struggles I haven't encountered yet. And that feeling of identifying with a character, especially with like contemporary literature, is something I really value at times, and that's just a personal thing for me. Additionally, I don't feel like young adult books have only been helpful to past me and present me, but I also feel like it is continually helping future me as well. I am pursuing my master's degree in clinical mental health counseling, and my desired demographic to work with is teens and young adults. I feel like individuals in this age group, especially teens, are woefully misunderstood by society, and they require individualized, specialized support that is completely different from other stages of life. And what better way to keep myself aware of issues that teens face than reading books about them? I am confident that young adult books have already helped me in becoming the best counselor that I can be in the future. While writing my personal statement and applying for grad school, I talked a lot about how I have a huge focus on becoming a competent counselor in relation to issues such as intersectionality and multiculturalism, which is also a large focus of the program I'm attending. And so much of what I have learned about those topics are a result of either reading young adult books or research that has been prompted by things of that nature that were included in young adult books. The issues I read about in young adult books today are absolutely issues I will encounter with my future clients, and I will owe a lot of the foundations of my knowledge to young adult books. Also, I'm currently a part of a grant research project at my college that is focused on interracial and interfaith dialogue, which we discussed to create more education equality in my community. AKA, I sit in a group of other students, and every week we discuss different ways that we can improve educational opportunities for people of all races, genders, sexualities, religions, socioeconomic statuses, and abilities. We are a very diverse group, and there is a ton of rich dialogue going on that I can't always speak to. But in every session, whether I feel nerdy enough to say it out loud or if I just want to keep it in my head, I am constantly like, I read a book about a character who experienced the same thing that you also did. Here we are talking about real life challenges and obstacles we've faced, and I've read books about people who've experienced the exact same thing. Fiction, regardless of the intended age range, does not exist in a vacuum. It mirrors reality, and it also has the power to impact reality, and that's really obvious to me through young adult books. Now, although currently young adult books are really important to me, and I absolutely see myself pulling from a lot of the books I'm reading now in the future, that does not mean for the rest of my life I will read 98% YA books. Only 4 years into the young adult fiction community, I've seen my personal reading taste change. I used to only want an entertaining story, and now I desire so much more substance from books. I want real life issues. I want thought-provoking questions. For many years in this community, a lot of creators have discussed the concept of outgrowing YA, where you either don't relate to the characters you've been reading about, or you're looking for more challenging texts to read, and I know I have the capability to grow into that in the future. There will very likely be a day where reading about a 30-year-old main character is more desirable to me than reading about a 15-year-old main character. I mean, already I am like very focused on the older end of YA, but right now it's not that time. Right now I prefer YA. I love YA, and I don't plan on changing that anytime soon. So that really concludes this sort of like chatty discussion video on why I love YA, why I think I personally prefer it to a lot of other genres, and why it's definitely not a bad thing to be an adult and read young adult books. Obviously, as I talk about young adult books mostly on this channel, I have a lot of followers who read young adult, so I would want to know, why do you guys love YA, and why do you think you prefer it to other genres? Do you not like YA? Are you one of the people that feels you're outgrowing it? Why do you think that is? But I just want to leave you guys with a lasting message that it does not matter what age you are allowed to enjoy whatever books fit your fancy, whether it is middle grade or young adult, nonfiction, philosophical works. It does not matter as long as you are enjoying the books that you are reading. That is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you soon for a new one. Bye!